Good morning, Get Wrecked for Recovery crew. So it's day 86 of the Redeeming Eden Cycle Tour, RECT, Get Wrecked for Recovery. A bicycle trip across America to raise awareness that there are addiction recovery options available, that you don't have to die in your addiction. There's churches, celebrate recoveries, and rescue missions all over the nation, all over the world that just want to help you, talk to you, and love you if you find yourself battling addiction. So I'm here in the Golden City Park. Had a pretty restful night last night. It's 7 o'clock right now. I've got a big day today. I'm not quite sure how many miles I'm going to do, but the big day part is back on day 22. Prior to that, I was posting my videos on different Facebook groups and those kind of things, and I posted to Warm Showers, and Warm Showers simply replied back that they don't allow videos to be posted to their page. And I said, okay, thanks. Well, then I got an email from Taverly, who does the Warm Showers podcast, and she said, we'd love to have you on our podcast. And so I was like, okay, great. So we set it up for day 22 when I was on the McKenzie River, where I met Kyler. That's how I met Kyler, I was stopping on the side of the road to potentially take that phone call. And so later on down the river, she finally sent me the Zoom info, set up the time, and I didn't have good enough service. And so we have back and forth, either she has time and I don't have service, or I have service and she doesn't have time. But today, at 12 Mountain Time, 1 Central, I'm supposed to have a Zoom podcast with warmshowers.org. So I have to get to the town of Ash Grove, I think it is, and make sure that they have, cellular service or connect to Wi-Fi there. Find some way to make this happen. That's all going to be by like 12:30. So if I've made it 35 miles by 12:30, then I see no reason why I couldn't go more unless I'm just exhausted. So, don't really know how it's going to work out, but we'll all know more of that. You'll know it before I do. It's going to take me all day. It's going to take you just a few more minutes. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and pack everything up here. I've got it halfway packed up, but I'm going to finish packing everything up. They never came and unlocked the shower. Fortunately, the bathroom was unlocked, so no shower, no laundry. Another day, but that's all right. I'm doing okay. So either way, I'm going to get on the road, and you'll see more of that right about now. Alright, so I stopped in here to Cookies, and they have a bike log. She even brought me the last bike log so I could read through it. And yeah, they've got Wi-Fi. They're famous for their pies. So she asked me if I wanted hash browns for my breakfast. I said yes. And she said, what about pie? And I was like, I don't think so. And she's like, we're famous for our pies. I was like, okay. She's like, you want me to take the hash browns off? I was like, yeah, if I'm having pie, I don't need hash browns. So, yeah, I'm excited to try this. I've looked back and seen several of the people that I've met along the way. Pablo and Alan and Daniel. It's pretty neat. I love these bike logs. It's just so neat to see, everybody that stops in from the trail in these little places and how hospitable they are to us. It's really nice. This cafe has been here since 1942, continually in service since 1942, and it feels like it too. The seats are definitely some Art Deco stuff going on. But yeah, I'm gonna eat and get on the road. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Alright, so I didn't make it to Ash Grove like I planned on for the meeting, but I did find this hill on the side of the road here in Missouri, where I was able to get in the shade, eat some lunch, and have the interview. I had enough service here to be able to do it. And wow, that was so much fun. Towerly with warm showers. We got on a Zoom call, and she's, got all the audio from it, and so that's going to be on the Warm Showers podcast. She said hopefully sometime next week before they're able to post it. But yeah, this is so neat. I am so glad that that worked out the way that it did. It's like I said, I wasn't even really trying to be on the Warm Showers podcast. I was trying to share the YouTube videos on their Facebook group, and they don't allow YouTube videos on their group. And so they sent me the email, and it's been many, many days in the making, but it's finally actually happened. So thank you for your prayers for those of you who are praying back in Oregon on day 22 and prior to that. Because, I really had a good time with the interview. And so hopefully I'll be able to drop a link for that interview in one of the future videos. So be looking forward to that. And yeah, I got to get back on the road. These hills are ridiculous, by the way. In case you were wondering, this is already Missouri equals pain. Like, I'm learning this very quickly. It does not stop. And they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Fun side of that is that every time I get to the top of one, it's downhill to the bottom of the next. I'm really just not like a big fan of every time I come over a hill seeing a big valley and then the crest of the next hill. Like, that's what it's been like all day. So yeah, definitely not making it as far as I wanted to. So I think I'm going to stay in Ash Grove tonight. I made up a few extra miles previously. I may do that until I kind of get used to what I'm doing here. Plus, I had a really, really strong headwind for most of the morning. It's calmed down now. But I'll put a video of what the wind was doing, and you can see the leaves blowing sideways across across the street from me here. While I was sitting lunch, I was like, this is ridiculous. It's also turning fall, so I'm starting to see all of the trees starting to turn a little bit yellow. So I hope I can make it onto the Blue Ridge Parkway during their time of year for the color change. But even if not, I'll be in the Ozarks for the beginning of this one, so this is cool. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. Super excited. Be looking forward to the link for that later on, and, probably day 90 or 100. But yeah, that's coming soon, and I'm getting back on the road. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Alright, so I stopped in here to Mama Loca's, and I ordered the burrito. I've almost eaten it all now. But Dolores, who runs the place, her and her husband Mark, Dolores walked up to the table after Colton, my server, had taken my order, and she said, if you want a beer or margarita or anything, Mark's the guy. He does it. I said, well, I'm not really big into drinking, and gave him the sticker for Redeeming Eden and kind of told him what I'm doing out here, that I'm writing for Addiction Recovery Awareness. And so Mark gets on the phone and Dolores starts explaining that there's a ministry in town called Freeway Ministries. I think that's what she said. And it's kind of like a rehab type program where they take a group of guys and disciple them. And she said, you know, it's Wednesday night. They have a service from 5:30 to 7. And so I said, oh, that would be so cool. And so Dolores looked over at Mark, and he said, I'm texting him. So they're trying to get in touch with that ministry now. And hopefully I can go, you know, say something or encourage the guys that are in the program and congratulate them on, you know, seeking recovery and finding help, especially through a Christ-based rehabilitation program. So while I'm sitting here, Colton the server brings over this amazing 3-layer ice cream mousse cake, beautiful dessert that it is. And I was thinking, I didn't order that, you know. Did that come with the dinner? And he set it down on the table. He said, this is from Dolores. It's compliments of Dolores, as is the rest of your meal. Thank you. God is so good. So good. So, yeah, my battery's almost dead. I'm going to have to charge my phone and go find out about hopefully speaking to the guys tonight. So, I'm glad I came to Ash Grove. I love you guys. I'll see you later. All right, so just finished up there at Mama Loca's. Heard from Mark as I was leaving that Ike will be at the church at 6:15. So I'm headed up there to meet Ike. But first I had to call the city park because, you know, they have their camping accommodations. And I was like, hey, I ended up having to call the police, non-emergency. And they sent an officer here. And it turns out the house you see over my shoulder, I got the keys. So this house is for cyclists on the Transamerica Trail. It's got showers, it's got air conditioning, it's got heater. Staying in a 2-story mansion tonight on this trip. Yes, please. So yeah, super exciting. I'm not going in yet. I'm gonna run up here to the church. I'm gonna ride up here to the church, speak with Ike, and then hopefully speak to the guys and give them a word of encouragement. And I'm coming back down here for the night. The only thing this place doesn't have is a washer and dryer. Unfortunate, but I did find out from Miss Dolores that 2 towns ahead, there is a laundromat. So I should be good to go. Anyway, let me get up here to the church. I love you guys. I'll see you later. All right, so I made it back to the house. That was a really, really good time. So here's my accommodations for the night. Got some couches, a table, a nice big open area to put down a mat or a tent if I wanted to set it up. The back door has a ramp that comes in. A nice full shower. Nice restroom. A full entire kitchen, stove, everything. All donated money is used to maintain the house. And then unfortunately, the upstairs is padlocked. So anyway, this is the historic Barham House here in Ash Grove, Missouri. So I went to Ash Grove Baptist. That's where the Freeway Ministry, their guys go to worship on Wednesday night. And while I didn't get to say anything as, like, you know, a speaker, I went and was able to sit with all the guys. I just sat in the middle of all of them and had a few good, meaningful conversations. I met one guy, we'll just call him K, just in case there's any privacy issues there. And we had a really good conversation about, you know, just God's call for, you know, your life, for his life. He's been saved for 2 months, and he's been really, you know, sober for 2 months. Thought he was saved when he was younger, and wasn't. and just kind of came to the realization of that when he got here to the program. Super nice guy. I also met Pastor Earl, who's like their house pastor. And I told him it's just about decisions. It's a daily walk. If I would have gone into the restaurant and said, yeah, sure, let me get a margarita or let me have a beer, God wouldn't have led me on the path to that ministry for the night, to be able to speak to him. And so, it's just, you're never going to stop running into decisions that you get to make all throughout this life. And so it was just really good. I was so excited to be able to be there and worship with him. I also met Pastor Ike, who is the guy who started it. It's a 1-year program. They're 3 years in, and they've had several graduates now. They have a women's facility that's at another property in another city. And so, yeah, just an amazing work that God is doing there. And that church was so receptive, and they really love those guys. You can tell they really love those guys. But I think the highlight of tonight was the pastor, young man, got up, and when he preached out of Titus chapter 2, verses 1 through 10. And it talks about the young men being sober and the elder men being sober. And he said so many good things. I'm talking about just spot on with his doctrine, spot on with the word. He said it in a way that was very receptive, not condemning. He even said, for somebody that gets saved when they're 5 and they still live for the devil until they're, 60 years old, and then they rededicate, he said, they talk about being back in the saddle again. He said, you never owned the horse. And I was like, that is so cool. Oh, man. But just a really good spirit-filled guy. You could just tell that he was in there. And so, I enjoyed the message tonight. It was very uplifting. And, the God works that way. When you go to church and you're doing it right, when you're living correctly, a lot of the time the messages are encouraging to you because you're doing what God's asked you to do. But then if you go to church and you've done it incorrectly, then the messages, are edifying or exhorting you to live a better life. And so I always love it when I've made the right decision and then the message confirms it. So, yeah, God definitely spoke through that young man tonight. I sent him a friend request on Facebook. So, Dylan, if you're watching this video, hey, drop a comment, man. You did great tonight. I'm very proud of you. You spoke to my heart very, very closely. So, yeah, I'm done for the night. I am going to essentially probably just sleep on one of those couches and go to bed. I'm going to edit this video, cut it, and I've got 5 bars of 4G in this little town, which is awesome. So really productive, fruitful day. I think I only made it 35 miles, but if I was going to go any farther, even if dinner hadn't happened the way that it did and I decided I wanted to pedal, the next place is 7 miles up the road, and it's or maybe a little more than that, and it's a winery. And I was hesitant on going there anyway because you hang out in the barber shop long enough, you're bound to get a haircut. And so definitely was like, not sure if I want to stay at a winery tonight. So I am glad that I stopped here today. The next place after that is probably the place that I'm going to head to tomorrow. So tomorrow's probably going to be a good 42 mile day. And I just would not have been able to do that with the hills that were today. So that's it for the video tonight. If you know anyone who's passed away from addiction in any form or fashion, please drop their name in the comments or find me on Facebook, Adam Lineberry, Mobile, Alabama, and I would love to ride for your person and celebrate their life with you for a day. If you know anyone who's actively addicted, share this with them. I don't want to see anybody else die from addiction, and I know that you don't either, so let's use YouTube as a tool to hopefully save a life. If you know anybody who's in recovery, share this with them. We're all in it together, and I definitely need the recovery community's prayers and support as much as I pray for and support the recovery community. So glad I've been able to go to church Sunday morning, celebrate recovery Sunday night, church Wednesday night, be with some guys from rehab on Wednesday night. This Missouri has been good so far. The end of Kansas and the beginning of Missouri, I feel like I'm getting back into kind of a Bible Belt area after being in such an area of, churches shut down for so much of the trip, and then just so far away from a city with a church on most Sundays and Wednesdays. But don't forget, Redeeming Eden is a nonprofit ministry through International Gospel Outreach. I'll leave a donation link in the description. Just click the down arrow and you can find it. You can go there. You can donate one time. You can donate monthly. It's whatever the Lord puts on your heart. If He puts it on your heart just to pray, then just pray. Prayer has got me to Ash Grove, Missouri. And yeah, thank you so much for commenting on the videos on YouTube, for liking the videos on YouTube, for sharing the videos on your social media, and for subscribing to the YouTube channel. That's a big help for the channel, and it's a big help for hopefully building the rehab that we're pedaling toward building together. And do know that any funds left over from the Redeeming Eden Cycle Tour will go toward building Redeeming Eden, the Garden Rehab. So with all that being said, from the Barham House here in Ash Grove, Missouri, I love you guys. Jesus loves you. I'll see you later. Have a good night.